Hello, friends. A little surprise, today I'll be with you. It so happened that right now the main part of the team is participating in a presentation at a scientific and technical conference. This is the 22nd scientific reading on aviation honoring the memory of Nikolai Yegorovich Zhukovsky. It so happened that the presentations ran long and Fyodor Konstantinov didn't make it back in time, so I'll be conducting the webinar today. I am your guide in the media space of the Next Generation Airship project, Gennady Babin. I'll start by saying that today we will discuss topics such as the report in which our team is participating, what topics they are covering, and what goals they pursued by participating in this event. We will touch on the topic of the previous day's tests of the airship Nova 01 and, in general, talk about the news that has occurred recently. Friends, dear friends, I also want to ask you to please be actively involved, leave a plus sign or a comment to let us know that everything is working correctly. The sound is recording perfectly and you can hear us. We understand that everything is working great. We will begin. So, let me start by repeating once again that our team is participating today in a presentation at the Scientific and Technical Conference dedicated to the memory of Nikolai Yegorovich Zhukovsky. The company AERONOVA is one of the sponsors of this event. The goal of our involvement is to expand our presence both in the media space and within the niche circles of aviation and aeronautics, and to further solidify our influence. Those people who are interested in this topic, so that more and more people know about us and, like word of mouth, pass on information and talk about us. After all, it is not uncommon for people to find us themselves through some connections, contacts, or just general information on the internet. Therefore, this type of activity is also useful and necessary for the company. In this activity, Vadim Vasilyevich Zubkovich participates, presenting a report titled The Concept of Airship Nova 2. The report presents the concept of the Nova 2 airship developed by the company AERONOVA. The latest advancements in various and innovative technological features are being showcased in this cutting-edge airship design, which includes state-of-the-art landing and control systems suitable for both manned and unmanned operational modes. Dmitry Khmel presents a report on the characteristics of an airship with enhanced aerodynamic qualities, including stratospheric capabilities. And, of course, Fyodor Sergeyevich Konstantinov presents a report titled Development, Manufacturing, Testing of Stratospheric Balloons and Prospects for their use as atmospheric satellites with autonomous energy saving. These are the topics involved in. Unfortunately, I don't have more detailed information. I plan to find out from Fyodor himself today, but he hasn't returned yet, so we'll get more detailed information later. Friends, work continues on launches within the framework of the Stratospheric Launch Project. Just yesterday, there was a meeting with specialists from Bauman Moscow State Technical University who prepared a final report on the conducted launch. About the shortcomings and how the launch went overall. Areas for growth and potential points of contact and collaboration in the future. Therefore, work in this direction will be actively pursued. This direction is undoubtedly interesting and important to us, and we see existing demand for it. Of course, you're interested in finding out how the tests of our airship Nova 01 went. So let's move on to the most interesting part. That's why we're gathered here today. Last week, ground tests of the Nova 01 airship were conducted. The purpose of these tests was primarily to check the airship's envelope. We tested its strength characteristics, airtightness, functionality, and the characteristics of the ballonets, as well as overall performance and efficiency, which are also present in the airship. And we checked their functionality and readiness for flight tests. We also checked and installed the nose reinforcement. This is the front part of the airship, which specifically has a sturdy and rigid structure because it faces head-on collisions with air currents in order to ensure safety. And it has a sufficiently rigid construction to withstand air currents. Plus, it has a mooring unit attached, which is specifically designed and used to securely dock the airship to the ground after its flights, ensuring stability and safety. Over the past few days, we carefully tested, meticulously secured, and successfully installed the airship's tail assembly, as well as installed and attached the thruster. The tail assembly essentially functions as a stabilizer during the airship's flight, providing it with smoothness, stability, and the necessary direction of movement. The thruster is used for controlling the airship at low speeds, such as during landing. When the tail assembly, which certainly has a swivel mechanism, is not effective at low speeds, the thruster is activated and fully operational, allowing for more agile control of the airship system. The airship's gondola was also suspended from the envelope. The alignment of all components and parts to be used was checked. At the end of these few days, we conducted all possible tests that could be carried out at this site. But this is far from all the tests. The facility itself was quite small. After 3 slightly long days, we disassembled the airship again. A move to the site in Kirzhach is planned for further testing, additional testing, and comprehensive analysis. I was told that there should have been footage from those days when the tests were conducted. They are here, and in connection with this, I wanted to conduct an interactive session and a small giveaway. A detailed and comprehensive full report video on these 3 days will be released very soon, where you can learn more about how everything happened, who participated, and see it in a more complete picture, in detail. And in connection with this, I would just simply like to hold a small giveaway. We will give away this wonderful hoodie from the company SOLARGROUP to someone who likes, comments, and shares it on their social media page. This is a unique opportunity to own a stylish and comfortable hoodie. SOLARGROUP is renowned for its innovative designs and high-quality products. Participate now by liking, commenting, and sharing this post to win. We will select one person and give them this wonderful merch, a hoodie from the company SOLARGROUP. Friends, great activity. Participate not only to win a hoodie, but also because it helps promote the project, so that as many people as possible learn about the Next Generation Airship project. They will learn that they can actively participate in the implementation and enthusiastically support our idea, our project. Therefore, be sure to support us and share the video. Leave comments and be active. It's a big, big request. let's move on a bit. Friends, what work is being done this week? All the ground tests, I repeat, that could be conducted at that site we have completed. This week was dedicated to the software of the control system, which will be tested and used on the airship Nova 01. In fact, this is quite a substantial amount of work. As far as I know, not many companies and organizations are involved in developing software for controlling aircraft like this. And considering that airships are not commonly utilized in many parts of the world, such control software systems do not yet exist, at least not within our reach in various regions. Therefore, we took this issue under our control and are developing such software independently. And we have practically succeeded. I think we have actually succeeded. Today, Melat was supposed to give us a definitive answer that everything is ready and we can actually proceed with testing it. Therefore, according to further plans, now on Thursday, tentatively on Monday, most likely on Tuesday, we definitely plan to head to the site in Kirzhach, where I think we will most probably spend a few days in the near future. Some of the team will even have to stay there overnight because the process will be quite labor-intensive. In addition to that, the airship will need to be reassembled and additionally filled with those components and parts that we did not install and test at the first site. This couldn't be done because the site there is indeed quite small, and testing the engines and propellers while they are on was quite dangerous. Therefore, we simply did not resort to such tests. Therefore, Tuesday, I will take the responsibility to announce that we tentatively plan to head there on Tuesday. Today or tomorrow, we will purchase the necessary elements, necessary consumables, including helium, which we will indeed actually use to fill the airship. On Tuesday, we actually plan to head directly to the site in Kirzhach. So these are the main updates. I think you can get more detailed information from the video that will be released either this evening or tomorrow morning. So be sure to check it out. Don't forget to stay active, even though winter is coming to an end. This hoodie will keep you warm any time of the year, especially since it's cool. So participate and stay active. It will greatly help the development of the project and its overall media presence on social networks and across the internet. Alright, so I'll just move on a bit. So, what do you think is next for us? Well, I also mentioned that we are actively working on stratospheric launches, which I have told you about. Overall, I can summarize the tactical and technical specifications of our airship Nova 01. Let me remind you that it will be an exact replica of our airship Nova 2, which is specifically being developed to test all the necessary operating conditions, such as ground operations, lifting, mooring, takeoff, software, and the control system itself, and other related activities. It is an exact replica of the Nova 2 airship. The same propellers and power units that will be used fully simulate the operation of the Nova 2 airship, but on a smaller scale. The overall size of our airship will be approximately 17 meters in length, with a total volume of 130 cubic meters, and the diameter of this airship at its widest part also known as the midsection, is in total 3.7 meters. The speed of this device will reach approximately 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. This is approximate information. We will obtain more precise data directly during flight tests. The target payload of such a device will be around 20 kilograms, also approximate. We will have more precise information after we weigh all the components, the gondolas, install the engines, and the envelope itself. After that, we will have an understanding of the lifting mass, or more precisely the target payload that this airship can carry. To fully fill the envelope of the Nova 01 airship, we will need approximately a total of about 110 cubic meters of helium in volume. We have almost purchased it, and it is planned to be delivered directly to our site in Kirzhach. The maximum altitude this device can reach will be about 1.5 kilometers, but such a height is not necessary for its operation. The operational altitude will be about 500 meters. This height will be sufficient to test all systems and work through all necessary parameters and tasks that will be set before it. That's basically all I essentially just wanted to say. Well, I should probably add that the goals set during the ground tests of the Nova 01 airship were to check the strength characteristics and the airtightness of the envelope itself, and to ensure the overall integrity and performance of the airship during various conditions. We tested this in the following way. Let me explain a bit. We simply filled the envelope with regular air, up to the required working pressure. Our team carefully connected special sensors in order to accurately and precisely measure the internal pressure, and over a certain period of time, we continuously monitored how this pressure changed inside the envelope over time. Overall, the testing of the envelope was certainly satisfactory to us. There are some remarks that we, of course, carefully considered and will certainly take into account in the future when manufacturing our own envelopes or during future purchases and production. But at the current stage, at this point in time, in order to successfully launch the first device into the sky, to successfully test all the control, piloting, landing, and takeoff systems, we are generally quite satisfied with the tests conducted and thoroughly. So, friends, I don't know, maybe you have some questions and I'll try to answer them, because to be honest, I wasn't quite prepared for today's webinar, and I was actually planning to ask questions to Fyodor, but it turned out that I'm the one answering them. So, don't hesitate, write your questions. If my competencies and knowledge are sufficient to answer them, I'll be happy to do so. Well, while you're writing, I can just briefly touch upon the subject matter again, that we also, in particular, launched a stratospheric balloon in the city of Kirzhach, which was an exciting event that sparked great interest from both our partners and investors. We all eagerly followed its journey across Russia and beyond. In summary, we can confidently state that the launch was successful and the event was grand. It was well organized and executed, leaving a significant impression on everyone present. Despite the fact that we didn't manage to set a Russian record for a round-the-world journey, the flights were actually successful, and the device almost completed a full circle and returned to the launch point. This was a notable accomplishment given the various challenges encountered, including unpredictable weather and technical issues. The team showed great perseverance and commitment to the mission. In fact, we were just a little short. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I don't know what else to share with you. There is quite a bit of news. We also received the propellers from America that we've been waiting for so long. They are three-bladed. These specific three-bladed ones will certainly indeed be used on the Nova 2 airship, so they will also certainly indeed be used on the Nova 01 airship. Even though they indeed came from America, many were actually concerned about this. They are made by a Czech manufacturer, and these are the ones that will be used on the Nova 01 airship, three-bladed. More news. We constantly have team meetings to discuss our progress and future plans, as well as meetings with potential partners and other interested companies who are intrigued by what AERONOVA is doing and explore potential collaborations to expand our reach and impact. Both stratospheric devices and small cubic-sized airships are of interest. Even the innovative and highly advanced unmanned version Nova 01, an autonomous aerial vehicle, already has some demand for monitoring photo and video shoots, and is gaining interest in various industries. There have been numerous requests from various sectors of the public, including individuals, businesses, and organizations, for its potential commercial use and application. Friends, if you have any questions, I ask you to gather them for me and send them over. I will check them on vContact now. vContact is quiet for us. Also, very soon we will release a film about the stratosphere, which will be released very soon. Making final touches, edits, and montage sketches. Very soon we will see a big film about the stratosphere. Friends, also right now, Fyodor is currently presenting his important and detailed report at the Scientific, Technical, and Innovative Conference right at this moment. I would like to remind you once again that these are the 20-second scientific readings on climate.
AERONOVA, specifically on swimming technology and atmospheric swimming technology. In the 21st century, with the help of satellites, weather stations, observatories, and more, the composition of the atmosphere has been well studied. Its layers, currents, etc. And the possibility emerged to controllably use stratospheric devices, utilizing them as pseudo-satellites thanks to a variety of modes, such as different altitudes. This created several different and complex challenges that needed to be addressed in order to make this feasible. Our foreign partners and colleagues are successfully handling these challenges. They are able to build probes that drift for months. They manage to keep them in designated areas. They are maintained in these areas through the technology of altitude change, At one altitude, the current goes in one direction, and at another altitude, it goes in the opposite direction. Therefore, by changing altitude, the device can move from one current to another. And, as indicated here, the size of the hovering area is in kilometers. The radius is most likely 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 4 kilometers. And this allows the device to be stationed with great precision and accuracy and perform certain functions. In the remote areas of Russia, there are no such devices. The entire aeronautical community, as I understand it, is striving to create them from a technical standpoint, and it's scientifically interesting, and in many practical ways it can be useful.
So, friends, that was a live broadcast from the report that Fyodor is currently presenting at the Scientific and Technical Conference. We will get more complete and detailed information from him as soon as he returns, with additional details. And we'll find out how everything went, what fascinating and intriguing things happened there, and what interesting acquaintances and contacts were made after this exhibition, conference, and more details. So, friends, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you that on the date of March 26th, which was a significant day, my dear friends and colleagues, the esteemed and respected Vadim Vasilyevich Zubkovich, the well-known and highly regarded Ruslan, and I attended and participated in the Composite Expo exhibition. There, we were jointly and collaboratively looking for some captivating and intriguing solutions and materials that can be used in the future and even now in our airship models. These will allow us to make them stronger, more reliable, higher quality, lighter, and possibly find some interesting connections and partnerships that will enable us to successfully move forward in this direction. And we left there with a large bundle of various promotional materials, which Vadim Vasilyevich and Ruslan will undoubtedly have to go through for more than just one day. It's quite possible that we'll manage to find some interesting contacts, although Ruslan said he didn't find anything new there. But who knows, maybe something interesting will still turn up. Also, among other interesting news, as you remember, our software is being processed. And you could already clearly observe some of the visual, aesthetic, and functional design elements of how this software, which will be used, is going to look. This software will allow us to control the airship itself in a manner that is utilizing a remote, being directly near it. It will also have the capability to be controlled remotely, even using the small simulator we have here in the office. This advanced feature will allow it to be operated from a distance, and it can be managed effortlessly with the compact simulator that is available right here in our office. By the way, one of the tasks for the upcoming tests in the city of Kirzhach is also set for us. One of the pilots, let's call it that, will be in the office while the airship is in Kirzhach. And it is in this particular setup that we will be thoroughly testing the operation and functionality of this advanced system. As you clearly understand, in the foreseeable future, such innovative and unmanned airships can indeed be controlled and their precise direction adjusted from far beyond their intended path of movement. I've already told you about the new propellers that have arrived and will be used. The team also holds regular weekly meetings where they check the deadlines for the tasks assigned to them, verify those responsible for specific tasks, and agree on new deadlines for upcoming additional work. In order to effectively and efficiently manage their workload, they meet on a regular basis and thoroughly review all tasks as necessary and as required. This truly demonstrates the serious attitude and professionalism of the entire team. I was also told that we will now have the opportunity to watch the report presented by Dmitry Sergeyevich Khmel. So let's spend a couple of minutes on this as well.
And generally, as frequently happens in our lives, we tend to take the path of least resistance. In many situations, it is observed that people, including ourselves generally as often happens, often choose to take the path of least resistance.
So that was indeed a small excerpt from Dmitry Sergeyevich Khmel's presentation at this very scientific and technical conference. After their return, we will find out what interesting insights were gained from participating in such a conference. At this moment, I am going to take the opportunity to introduce you to a selection of intriguing and thought-provoking questions that have been sent to us by our dedicated. So Alexei asked the question, for clarity, let's first take a look at Vadim Vasilyevich Zubkovich. The video is ready. So, friends, that was the presentation by Vadim Vasilyevich Zubkovich. Now, I'll add some comments regarding this scientific and technical conference. It's either a small community or a large community of people. I'm not exactly sure yet. We'll find out the details after the team returns. Aeronauts, aviation enthusiasts who are interested in this topic. I believe that actively and enthusiastically participating in such conferences will undoubtedly be beneficial for us to be frequently and widely talked about, for information about us to spread among people who are interested in this field. It can work to our advantage in a multitude of advantageous and beneficial ways for us to be recognized and to appear more frequently among those who are interested in this topic. Are there any questions? Will there be standard uncontrolled shells with a load capacity of 501,000 kilometers to create aerostats from weightless containers? Alexei, the question is unclear to me, so I apologize. Let's leave it for Fyodor for the next webinar. In general, is there perhaps a plan to supply spare parts from abroad? The name is not stated here. I can't take responsibility for all the processes that will occur in the company and state how everything will actually be. But I can certainly assume that the company will, in any case, ultimately endeavor to create all production processes and components independently, efficiently, and sustainably. But naturally, it's impossible to handle and produce all spare parts independently. First and foremost, solutions will be primarily and actively sought in the Russian market, and their technical characteristics and suitability for use in our airships will be carefully checked. But if these are not suitable, or if their characteristics do not meet our requirements, then naturally solutions will be sought abroad. Again, solutions will primarily be sought in friendly countries, for example. If not, it's most certainly quite likely that there will be a need to resort to other solutions and alternatives. But the team fully understands that constantly resorting to such solutions would be incorrect. Necessary and appropriate measures will be taken to find solutions in our market, either by producing them independently or, if possible, at least acquiring them from friendly countries. This is my subjective opinion. So Gleb asks a question. Fyodor mentioned there will be 4 more stratospheric probe launches. When are they scheduled to launch? Unfortunately, Gleb, I can't provide specific dates at the moment, but I know that active work is being done in this direction. Various parts of our team have been assigned a number of very important and very crucial tasks for preparation, which will be used in our future stratospheric launches. As I mentioned, as you know, just yesterday there was an important meeting with highly skilled specialists from Baumann, where they prepared a detailed and comprehensive report on the work done, weaknesses and points of concern and shortcomings and limitations that occurred during the launch of this stratospheric device were carefully identified, and further work on launches in the near future was outlined in detail. I can't specify the exact dates, but I think it would be really great and exciting and cool to time them approximately with our upcoming trip for testing and launching the Nova 01 airship. It's quite possible that they will be conducted in parallel, but it's not certain. There might be a separate trip specifically for these tasks and goals. So, do we have any regulations and laws in place regarding advertising on airships? Perhaps regarding the use of airspace or not? Specifically for airships, I'm not sure, but in general, there are most likely general concepts for aircraft, in particular, which will also be relevant and applicable to airships. But it's quite possible that there will be some legislative solutions developed specifically for airships in the foreseeable future. I apologize, this is about advertising on airships. I am not competent to answer such questions regarding advertising on various platforms. Let's make a note of this important question and try to answer it in the next upcoming webinar session, after thoroughly consulting with our experienced legal department team. By the way, I'm also interested in this question. Good day. Will the Nova 01 be equipped with navigation lights, and what should they be like? Certainly, such lights will be included. At a very recent meeting with our Team Advisory Council, these questions were discussed in great detail, specifically the placement of these lights, and these issues have been included in the further revisions that will be made to the airship itself and thoroughly. But it seems this was indeed certainly related to the Nova 2 airship. As for the Nova 01, it's quite likely that they will definitely be needed if this airship is planned to be operated at night. However, at the current stage and during the testing of the Nova 01 in Kirzhach, as far as I know, we will not have such lights. We won't let it go far. It's quite likely that for the first flights, we'll use a tether so it doesn't stray too far from us, which is why there are no such lights for now.
If an airship is perhaps more difficult to control at low speeds, then why not make fully movable tail fins to manage it more efficiently? Gleb is asking again.
Gleb, the thing is, actually, such movable and adjustable tail fins will only work when the airship has some speed, and actually, you see. It's the same as if you take, for example, a ship that is stationary in the vast ocean and just turns its movable parts like the rudder or stabilizers, which are crucial for navigation. I don't remember what they're called, but these fins on ships help in steering and maintaining balance. But the point, I think, you understand, if the ship is stationary and just performs some turning operations, no processes will occur in it. But if it moves and has some resistance with the water surface, then they start to work. Now imagine that the ship is stationary, and the thrusters are like propellers, which, let's assume metaphorically, in this hypothetical scenario, are located at the outermost peripheries of the ship and will activate like propellers, allowing the ship to turn while just standing in place. I hope I explained it clearly and correctly. Pleb asks a question. A tunnel-type thruster is used to improve the maneuverability of a marine vessel, such as a ship. Do you plan to use similar solutions on new airships for automatic mooring, and why weren't they used on past airships? Perhaps such solutions hadn't been invented in the past. But it's quite likely that such solutions could indeed also be present in modern airships. I don't fully understand what these tunnel-type thruster mechanisms are, so I don't quite grasp what they look like and how they might be used, such as in different scenarios. So we'll note this comment as well, and I think Fyodor will definitely comment on it, because I'm also interested. Gleb, thank you for your activity. You are our most active person. Can the airship Nova 01 perform an Nesterov loop, a loop-the-loop, and how much attention from investors will such an innovative airship attract, such as? That would probably be a spectacular moment when the airship performs such a loop. For some reason, I think it would likely be quite difficult for an airship to do such a loop. Perhaps Fyodor will correct me and say that it is possible to do, but I think it won't be possible to do. Although, if you equip a small airship with extremely powerful thrusters and power units that can spin it properly, who knows, potentially, we'll be experimenting, including in Kirzhach. We'll try to test this airship, see what it will be capable of. The next question: when are the next launches of the stratospheric airships? I can't specify an exact date for the launches of the stratospheric airships yet. I know that work in this direction is definitely underway. Dmitry Sergeyevich Khmel spends quite a lot of time in this area, frequently and regularly, at the very least, demonstrating his models that can be used at such altitudes, and the power units that can be used at such altitudes and will be effective. But regrettably, at this particular moment in time, I don't have the timelines for when such tests can be planned. Although it might not take that long, in many instances, as one might anticipate. We will need to wait for such tests because, in fact, if you attach several engines to a stratospheric device or probe, it will become our airship, which we will be able to control. In recent years, remarkable progress has been made in this field. In fact, work in this direction is also being actively pursued, and researchers from various institutions are collaborating to develop innovative solutions. Tests of such devices are not far off. So, will a quadcopter be used for filming the promo video for Nova 01? Good question. Our operator is indeed very enthusiastic about this idea, asking the team to either purchase one or rent it. A final decision has not been made yet. We know and understand that such a drone, a quadcopter, will be necessary for us, because the company deals with aerial vehicles like airships, and we need such equipment, such as cameras and drones, in any case to create vibrant and beautiful shots for our content and our viewers. It might not be in the first launch, but it will appear soon. So, certainly, after the flight of Nova 01, once Nova 01 flies, firm orders will be placed for this airship. Are you ready for production? How soon can you deliver the airship to the customer? Gleb also finds it difficult to answer this question, although we are actively working in this direction. Just yesterday, it was explicitly mentioned that any day now, in fact, we should very soon receive equipment from China, which we have already paid for a long time ago, and which will be used in the production of shells for our airships. Currently, as you are probably aware, we are diligently and actively searching for an ideal and suitable location where we can set up such production. And once we find a space where we can place these machines, after we install them, test them thoroughly, and completely understand that we are fully ready to manufacture such shells on an industrial scale, naturally, we will be ready to fulfill such orders as well. Yes, this work is already being carried out quite actively. The team has set a very specific and clear objective to at least decide on a location by May, and to move the equipment into that place. Yes, soon we will be ready for such orders as well. I am currently unable to answer how soon the airship can be delivered to the customer, as I do not have that information at this moment. How much will a Nova 01 cost for the customer? At least give a price range. I hope I won't get in trouble for this, but as far as I know, our airship Nova 01 cost us around 1,000,000 rubles, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little more. Give or take, it will probably be about the same for the end customer. Okay. Is there a plan to participate in the MAKS Air Show in 2025 in Zhukovsky? I don't have that information, and I haven't heard any discussions about it among the team members, but it's quite likely that we would definitely be interested in participating in such an exhibition. I will ask Fyodor this question, and we will definitely get back with an answer. So, in China, they simultaneously launch thousands of quadcopters and create 3D figures in the air. Will 3 or 5 Nova 01 airships be able to perform a group flight demonstration at the MAKS 2025 Air Show in Zhukovsky? Overall, why not? As I mentioned, we are currently developing software that will allow us to control the airships both remotely and autonomously. And in general, we have quite good and certainly extremely promising specialists working in this area, and if we set such a task, and this task is given to the team, we will accomplish it. I don't see any obstacles in this direction. The marketing idea is really cool. So, which international air shows are interesting and promising for promoting AERONOVA? Among those I know and where the AERONOVA team plans to participate is Dubai. The event is eagerly awaited and will include participants from various countries. The team is thrilled to demonstrate their skills and innovations. For some reason, I actually forgot the name of the exhibition, but we plan to participate in it in November. It's actually called something like that. Gliders use updrafts with a climb rate of approximately 6 meters per second to reach altitudes of up to 15 kilometers. Such a current can lift an airship to a dangerous height. That's the question. Can such a current lift an airship to a dangerous height? How is an airship protected from extreme ascent? What impact do updrafts have on stratospheric airships? All right, let's go through this step by step. Regarding updrafts and gliders, which ascend rapidly and reach such altitudes. Gliders have specific wings that push off air currents and lift them to high altitudes. These wings are designed to efficiently interact with the atmosphere, allowing gliders to soar gracefully. An airship, however, indeed will not have such powerful wings and tail surfaces to allow it to push off air currents and ascend. Different principles will be used here, up to 15 kilometers. If a situation unexpectedly arises where an air current or a force majeure suddenly lifts the airship to a potentially dangerous altitude, it will be equipped with warning systems. For such force majeure situations, there are pressure release valves in place that will allow the airship to maintain the required and desired altitude, ensuring safety. Therefore, systems that will warn of such force majeure situations, potential risks, and other potential hazards and dangers are also in place, both for extremely low altitudes and for extreme ascents of the airship. Regarding the influence of updrafts on stratospheric airships, I will certainly indeed also refrain from answering. If the stratospheric polar vortex has already dissipated, where and to where will the next stratospheric probes be launched? Yes, certainly. Stratospheric probes have the disadvantage of being somewhat like a toy for the wind. And despite the fact that we can now carefully observe how these currents move and shift, we cannot, however, control the stratospheric probe itself in any significant way. And as I already mentioned, it is a toy for the wind. But what we can do is control. There are already tools, technologies, and solutions that we plan to use on our stratospheric devices. Tools that will allow us to safely manage the ascent and descent of this stratospheric probe. And at different altitudes, there are various currents that move in different directions. That is, at a certain altitude, these currents may go in one direction, while at another altitude, they go in a different direction. And even now, there are examples of foreign partners who very successfully use this and allow such probes to more or less stay in a specific area that is of interest for monitoring and observation. Therefore, we also plan to use such systems in our stratospheric devices in order to effectively and efficiently apply them for controlling movement or hovering, keeping the stratospheric probe over a specific area in a variety of conditions and scenarios. For more or less controlled management of the probe itself. So, how do we receive data from stratospheric probes, and how do we retrieve the equipment if they drift towards the equator? Well, God knows, Gleb. Fyodor will help us with that. Let's leave this question for him as well. Well, first of all, as far as I am aware, from what I know, there are mechanisms and systems for the forced release of payloads, sensors, and equipment, such as those that will be installed on the stratospheric probe. I assume that indeed, as soon as the team realizes that the probe is heading somewhere it shouldn't, or has entered a different vortex carrying it in the wrong direction, there are systems in place for safely releasing the payload. These devices or mechanisms can be effectively utilized to strategically deploy or drop the payload in a location that is more or less accessible, depending on specific requirements and conditions, to which we can either safely and efficiently reach ourselves, or our partners can securely get there to collect this payload, obtain the necessary data, and at the very least return the equipment to us. That's it. Gleb, I personally thank you very much for your active participation in our webinar today. So, don't hesitate and feel free to ask questions at any time. I will do my best to answer them as soon as possible when there are no other specialists on screen, and there will be some live interactive discussion. It seems that we've run out of questions. At least I don't have any more at this particular moment. I want to kindly ask you once again to please be active, like, and leave comments, and engage. Let's not forget that today we will release an in-depth and comprehensive video with a detailed and thorough report on how we meticulously conducted extensive ground tests at our initial testing location on the airship Nova 01. Your task is to kindly leave a thoughtful comment, give a like, and share this video on your personal page. By doing so, you help us reach more people and spread the message further. Thank you for your support and engagement, and we will definitely choose the most, well, not the most, but just an active participant, indeed any random person, who will certainly receive this hoodie. Let's do a little unboxing. Well, look at this. What a wonderful hoodie one of you will receive, which you can wear anywhere, anytime. We still have spring ahead. The weather is unpredictable. As you can see, the cold can catch you at any moment. On the back, there's this wonderful airship. It's awesome, awesome, friends, so make sure to participate and be active. This is really important for the entire project and for the development of the company. I thank you for attending today's webinar, for writing comments, liking, and sharing. A special thanks for that. That's all from me. Thank you all. See you. Goodbye.